And then I thought, okay, well, what about a book? So many people that travel, they love to read while they're waiting for the flight or while they're waiting at the pool. And I thought, yeah, I'll write a book. I'll give people something to read, something fun and funny and somewhat informative to read, and we'll see how that works. And honestly, I thought that maybe like 20 people would buy it. I never thought that it would roll like it rolled. So I'm really happy about that.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Pay Me in Plane Tickets podcast. I'm your host, Jelani. Today we talk with Mr. Morgan OBrien, originally from the USA, but now resides in Germany. He's an individual who hosts many talents.
He's a choreographer and a performer in hit musicals all over the world.
A renowned author of a travel book titled Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship, and to me, a cruise ship scholar. Morgan shares his travel journey with us and how being a roller coaster enthusiast from the Midwest, a Disney World savant, and also the founder of the very popular YouTube channel, The Very Unofficial Travel Guides, has reshaped his whole life. And so, as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I say I travel around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. And I'm interested in a lot of different kinds of travel and different travel destinations and style of travel. But I also run my YouTube channel as a business. So it's a toss-up between, okay, doing something maybe new and exciting that is a personal journey, or doing something that I know is going to help a lot of people, and that I know that there's a lot of people out there looking for information about it. So just to wrap that up, that's why there's so many videos about cruise ships on my channel, simply because there's so many people out there looking for information about cruise ships. And that's kind of how that came together.
No, very true. And because it's not out there that much, and because you do run your channel as if it's a business, it's kind of a niche market. You kind of can corner yourself into that arena and produce content for that area, and it definitely shines. It got me. And you have
I'm glad. Okay, well, thank you. I
you
mean,
have,
there's also, like you said, there's also videos about airlines
yes,
and theme parks and
yeah,
other hotels and stuff like that. And
yes, yeah.
I try to be informative, but not take well, I definitely don't take myself too seriously. I hope people also don't take me too seriously. If you don't have a sense of humor, don't come over to the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. I don't think you'll stay very long.
That's sound advice. Sound advice. Morgan, I want to start from just a little bit from the beginning. So you hail from Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yep.
Give us a bit of background in your early days before, let's say, college.
I grew up in Minnesota, close to the Mississippi River. Did a lot of fishing out in the boat, all those Minnesota things, going up to the cabin on the weekends.
Okay.
And I think when it comes to travel and my relationship to travel, the first big family trip that we did, the first time that my family together went in an airplane, was already in fifth or sixth grade. That was when our very first trip to Florida and my first trip to Disney, which also sort of kindled a lifelong passion for themed entertainment like Disney World.
Were you was it always just Disney World, or was that like kind of the first trip, I guess?
Well, where I grew up in Minnesota, our local theme park is Valley Fair, and that will always be like my home park. Even though I haven't lived in Minnesota for so many years, but most of my family still lives there. My mom still lives in the house that I grew up in.
Okay.
And so Valley Fair is more like a Six Flags park.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of storytelling happening with the rides and attractions. And in the parks in Florida, Disney World, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Universal Studios, all those, of course, they also have really great rides, but then there's a lot of storytelling happening with these attractions. So it's kind of two different things. The thing that I think one of the things that impressed me so much and that sort of pulled me in about the Disney experience, even back then, is I was always interested and active in theater. So I was like a young child actor working in productions, local productions, and that became then my career for a long time after that. But it was so cool to me to be like at Disney and go to Big Thunder Mountain and think, okay, wow, this is like being in part of a movie. You know,
Right.
it really feels like we could be on this ranch, and these really look like cowboys that are helping me get into this train, and all of a sudden it goes all wrong. And I just loved being immersed in that world, because for me it also felt kind of like being on stage. So it
Okay.
was kind of the joining of two passions, even at a young age: theater and storytelling, and roller coasters and amusement parks.
I love it. Did you ever have like a favorite roller coaster at Disney World?
Oh, you're going to use this word favorite a lot. I know. I've been listening to your podcast. I know you asked this, and I'm really bad at picking favorites. But
All right.
I mean, I think anybody who's watched some of the very unofficial travel guides about the Disney parks will know I do have a favorite roller coaster at Disney, and it's definitely the one I just mentioned, Big Thunder Mountain.
Big
I
Thunder.
love that ride. I want to. As a kid, I used to dream about camping there, like just being able to camp in Big Thunder Mountain.
Wow, that's amazing. No, Disney World is a very special place. And I think you're right. It does combine that theater and that love for production, and also amusement park s to it. It has this kind of like I feel like yeah, I am in a movie, but I'm getting like a real world experience in this particular fantasy land, if that makes any sense. So
I
I definitely
gotcha.
could see
Yeah.
the appeal for it. So now, okay, so it went from Disney World. Now, when was your first solo trip by yourself, kind of getting out of the amusement park? I know we'll get into it later, but I getting out of the amusement park, when did you first start going outside on your own and traveling on your own?
Gotcha. The first time I like took a big trip without my parents, I was in ninth or 10th grade. I think I was 16. And I flew to Chicago for a roller coaster convention. There are many different roller coaster enthusiast clubs around the world. I think the most popular one
Oh,
was back then and is now ACE, the American Coaster Enthusiasts.
okay.
It's an organization that
Yeah.
is just for people who love roller coasters, and they deal with also the preservation of roller coasters and things like that. It's a really cool thing, not just for, because I love roller coasters, but the
Yeah.
things that they do for the amusement park industry is also
Mhm.
really cool. And anyways, so they have like meetings and conventions around the United States and around the world. And they were having one that was partially in Minnesota and partially in Illinois at Six Flags Great America. And
Okay.
so I flew to Chicago on my own, and it was really exciting. The first time I ever, you know, it was only the second time I'd ever been in a jet, and then, alone. So I went to
Yeah.
this convention, met some people there that I knew from the club, and we had a really great time. And I remember feeling like super independent, and feeling like in charge of myself, which is really important when you're 16 or
Yeah.
17 years old. You know what I mean? And what a better way to test yourself and see, how well you'll do than, not only being away for a weekend from home, but also flying
Yeah.
away alone. And interestingly enough, on the way back from that journey, I got stopped at airport security because I didn't realize I had a knife in my bag.
Interesting. I know. I know. That is a it's funny because you mentioned this, security's tight nowadays. So I
Mm.
think you would have gotten like bodyguard would have knocked you out if they found it now. But it's scary back then when you see that happen.
Well, back then, your whole family could take you to the gate and then stand there and wave at the airplane as it's pulling away from from the terminal. I mean, things are so different now. And back then, there was none of this take off your shoes, none of
Mhm.
this no liquids or gels. And just, I actually told this story in my book. I wrote a book
Yeah.
called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It tells a
Yeah.
little bit about my life before and how I came to YouTube full time. And then there's 10 stories of like crazy and funny things that have happened to me around the
Yeah.
world.
It's a solid
And
book. I'll give you that.
oh, thanks. But so in this story, this true story that happened to me, I at the time I had been working at a grocery store, and the knife that was in my bag was a box cutter because this bag was also the bag that I used to go to school and stuff. And the thing is, when they stopped me and started searching through my bag, the
Mhm.
knife wasn't the worst or most embarrassing thing in
Was
my
not.
bag. But I'm not going to say what that was. If you
You
read
have
the
to have
book,
the book. Go get the book. You'll find out what was in the bag.
oh yeah. So that was also quite an experience for 16-year-old Morgan traveling for the first time on his own.
Yeah. No. Okay. So much to unpack there. So basically, it was pretty much a weekend conference for ACE, the American Coaster Enthusiast. Is that what it's called? Am I
Yeah,
saying it right? Okay, American Coaster Enthusiast. A conference of people who love roller coasters, and I'm very sure they get into the business of amusement parks, but also the engineering. I'm very sure of all the different types of coasters and the next big thing coming out or what could be coming out pending approvals.
exactly. Yeah.
But it was your first solo trip, your first time at least feeling independent. And yeah, you almost had to be independent when you're carrying the switchblade in your backpack.
No, no, let's not make the story worse than it was. Switchblade.
Right. I'm not trying to get you banned from TSA. But that's interesting because when we do conduct these interviews, we do hear that most don't have their first solo trip until they're in their 20s. But you were blessed enough to have it, in your teens, at least for a weekend or probably a 4-day weekend, if this is what it sounds like. How did that start spurning the idea of traveling on your own naturally, or did you also get influenced by anything else that pushed you out to start going solo?
That's a good question. I think to tell you the truth, because I just was so, I'm going to use the word obsessed. As a teenager, your mind works a little bit differently. And I'm going to say I was obsessed with roller coasters. And through being involved in the American Coaster Enthusiasts, back then we didn't have the internet. I know that's really hard to imagine, but I grew up in the 80s. So we didn't have the internet. And ACE sent out magazines and newspapers that had all these pictures and information about all the roller coasters around the United States. And so I I I think that is the biggest factor that made me want to be able to start traveling is because I just needed to get all these roller coasters. I needed to get to Six Flags in New Jersey. I needed to get to Astro World in Texas. I needed to get to Knott's Berry Farm, and
Yeah.
so I think that's probably the most important thing was just me wanting to get to new roller coasters. That's kind of how it happened.
Oh, interesting. Do you have a favorite? Let's not go favorite. Let's go top three roller coaster. Sorry, amusement parks.
There you go. I like top three better than favorite. Or how about you say like highlights? That's
Highlights.
also a
Okay, let's
good
go with some.
generalization.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a huge fan of any roller coaster that's partially inside and partially outside. I love the fact that you can be on a roller coaster inside a building. That's something that as a kid just fascinated me. And so just pick any roller coaster that has a tunnel or an indoor outdoor part, and
Okay.
I'm a fan. Like Hagrid's motorbike adventure at Islands of Adventure in Florida is so cool. The Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure, a new coaster, is so amazing. Of course, Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain at the Disney parks.
Yes.
Um, those, yeah. I mean, and it's interesting that roller coasters have been around for over 100 years now. And the modern
Wow.
steel roller coaster began with the Matterhorn at Disneyland. If it wasn't for Walt Disney and the research he did to create the Matterhorn roller coaster at Disneyland back in the, oh geez, I think it was the 60s, we wouldn't have all these loopy, crazy roller coasters nowadays because he invented the tubular steel track, him and his
Wow.
production company. So anyways, it's just interesting that roller coasters, even though they've been around for so long, they are still coming up with new technologies and new innovations, you know? And there was a trend back in like the 90s and 2000s that it was all about how many loops can we make, you know, like
Yeah.
how many times can we like get people upside down. And nowadays the trend is more about like the twists and the turns and these diving loops and these hang times and these more than vertical drops. And at the moment, I'm so fascinated and I can't wait to see like what happens next.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on wooden roller coasters?
Wood roller coasters are cool. You know, that's like the traditional roller coaster experience, like
Yeah.
of our ancestors. um,
Right.
and I have to say, personally, I don't think that the trend of trying to build really tall, really fast wooden roller coasters is one that needs to continue. I don't think wooden roller coasters get more fun the higher and faster they get. They just get painful and uncomfortable. And when you got an old body like mine, you feel it. And I don't need that anymore. Well, tell me, what's the last roller coaster you rode?
Actually, it was King Ka. I was
Okay.
few years ago. We went. My little cousin came to visit, and so we took her to Six Flags, and so yeah, we went on King Ka. It lasts. I think it was maybe 3 seconds. You don't even feel it. You don't remember it.
Okay, for people out there who don't know what King Kai is,
Yes,
do you want to tell them what it does?
yes. So and you probably have more information about the details of King Ka than I do, but from what I was told, King Ka is the fastest and tallest coaster, I believe, in the Americas. And so the way it's designed is it's kind of like a horseshoe design. It
Mhm.
flies straight, then you go really, really up, and then you fall really, really down, and they have this little sort of hill, and the roller coaster ends. So that's why it's very quick. And so the fear factor in it is that it just goes up really high, and you're seeing yourself go pretty much almost hit the ground, but at the at the in the nick of time, you're not.
Yeah, King Kai is a fascinating piece of machinery, isn't it?
It
when
is.
you
Yeah.
when you look at it, like you can see it from so far away, and you just think that cannot be. Do people really do that? And one thing that makes King Ka, and there are other roller coasters very similar to King Ka around the world, one thing that makes it so special is the way it starts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a shotgun. It like
Yeah.
shoots you up. There's no so I and then in most roller coasters in most roller coasters there's this sort of ricketing slow tick up to the top and then it drops you off in
Mhm.
whichever format. But in Kingda Ka, no, it shoots you right off from the moment you sit down and they press go.
Yeah.
You know, that's the roller
That
coaster. It's literally 3 seconds. I'd say five just for you stepping into the seat.
Yeah, and in these like 5 seconds, it's probably, to be honest, it's probably more like 20 seconds. But
Yeah.
uh, in these 20 seconds, not only do you like accelerate from 0 to I think 135 miles an hour in like the first 4 seconds, but then yeah, you climb this tower that's I think it's definitely over 300 feet if it's not over 400 feet. It's just ridiculous. It's
Yeah, it's really tall.
ridiculously tall. So you go up it and down it and over a hill. And even though, listen to this, even though it only does those couple of things, there's only those
Yeah.
elements, the launch, this tower, and then the hill, it's still longer than a lot of other roller coasters just because of the sheer height of it. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, that is pretty crazy. Yeah, I would not have thought that just by looking at it. Because you would think like I guess just the illusion of having all the loops and stuff in these other coasters, you would think that they are longer. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna take it from you. Yeah, it is definitely good. I'm very sure if you laid it out straight, it would Tina Co would beat out the rest.
Yeah, roller coasters. Look at see, isn't it great
Yeah,
how
they play
they
with your
make
head.
people connect, and they we have like an emotional reaction now talking
Yeah.
about it. That's what I love so much about them. I think everybody's got a great roller coaster story.
Another thing, do you add water parks to your roller coaster love or
Yeah, I like water parks.
okay?
I I can't believe I'm going to be saying this, but the older I get, the less fun they are.
I actually could
Because
understand that. I could understand it.
you have to imagine, I worked, like I said, in professional theater for so many years,
Yeah.
singing, dancing, doing acrobatics on stage. I used my body. And now that I'm almost 50, like I'm paying the bills now, like I'm paying the price. And so some of these water slides that as a kid I would have loved to ride,
Yeah.
I don't know. I I guess I'm just calming down a little bit. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I don't think that these crazy slides or crazy huge wooden roller coasters, I'm not saying they shouldn't be built, but I
Mhm.
definitely enjoy them less nowadays.
No,
But
I
yeah, I'm
understand.
good for a
Yeah.
water slide. If I go on a cruise ship and there's water slides, I will slide them all, even if it's freezing cold. If I'm at a hotel and there's water slides, I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, water parks, you're more relying upon your body than roller coasters. Question, because now I'm intrigued. Are there roller coasters on cruise ships? Because these cruise
Well,
ships have everything nowadays.
yeah, there are surf simulators, there are skydiving simulators, go-karts, ice skating rinks, all this
Yeah.
stuff. And there are some ships from Carnival that have a roller coaster like attraction. I'm going to call it that.
Okay.
According to, at least when I was really active in the roller coaster community, in order to be a true roller coaster, a ride has to have a section where it rolls on gravity up and down.
Okay.
And the attraction that is on these Carnival ships is completely powered.
Okay. There's something pushing it and bringing it down.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it is on a track. It does have turns and hills, but it is a powered attraction. So the experience will feel a lot like a roller coaster, kind of
Mhm.
like the way you sit on it is sort of like you're sitting on a motorcycle in a way, and the track is like between your feet.
Okay.
Um, and I haven't gotten the chance to do it yet, but I'm sure it's a lot of fun. So the answer to your question, are there roller coasters on cruise ships? Yeah, kind of.
This is like that. Yeah.
These rides on the Carnival ships they are to roller coasters what Velveeta is to cheese. Like, yeah, it's pretty much cheese. It's pretty much cheese, and these are pretty much roller coasters. We'll put it that way, okay?
Got you. Understand. Understand. Okay. So also, reason why you did love roller coasters, you love Disney World, was you have an affinity for show business, and your career is in show business.
Yeah.
So give us a bit of a brief introduction to how you got in, how your love got spurned into show business.
The Twin Cities of Minnesota, there is a lot of live theater, and not only local theater, but also some of the big touring productions from New York come through Minnesota as well. And so I was exposed to theater at a very young age, and I just thought it was fascinating that people, could tell a story and could make me believe that I was someplace else. And believe that there's a dragon on stage, or believe that they could fly, or whatever. I just thought that was fascinating. And I also had a lot of energy as a kid and was always trying to be the center of attention. And so I think my parents made a good move when they were like, sign him up for theater.
Okay. were you, I guess I know you played many different roles in theater, but were you always on stage or more the back, behind the scenes in theater?
I've done both. In high
Okay.
school, I did a little bit of both just because I wanted to do anything to be involved. And so, yeah, I helped build sets. I also designed and ran lights for a couple productions. And it was cool to get the experience and sort of learn about how everything works. And then I went to college for musical theater and dance. And as part of just the college experience, when you're getting your degree in musical theater, you also learn about all the different aspects. And now I've choreographed shows, I've directed shows, I've co-directed shows, and most of my resume, however, is from being on stage.
Do you prefer being on stage or do you prefer behind the scenes producing and choreography?
Oh, apples and oranges,
Okay.
two
So you
different
do both.
things.
Got you.
Two different things. And I haven't performed in a long run musical for quite a while now. I kind of retired from that when I was 40. And that doesn't mean that I won't be doing it again, but the what I was doing in these productions, I'm done doing that, let's say.
Okay. All right. So I want to get into your book, but I took something from your book. You kind of came to New York and did the New York hustle for a bit. He,
I did.
he was running around Queens and Hell's Kitchen. I was like, okay, he was in my
Oh,
neck of the woods.
yeah, I lived everywhere. Anybody who had a couch, that's where I lived.
What was that experience like? From some folks I do know who are in show business. It's fun but exhausting.
Um, I I have a lot of fond memories of that time, especially because of the friends that I was hanging out with
Mm.
at the time. And moving to New York when you're, geez, what was I, like 23 years old, 24 years old? I don't remember. I was in my young 20s. And I had already studied for a half a year in London. So I was used to being in big cities and riding the train and going to theater and stuff like that. But New York is a whole different thing. And so it was really exciting for me to get there and to start auditioning and taking classes and training from these people who I'd heard about and read about and stuff like that. But New York is hard. And yeah, you really have to hustle. And
Yeah.
I auditioned for hundreds of shows. And you just kept getting cast in things that were outside of the city, like tours or regional productions. Or, I want to say, thankfully, I also got cast in the musical Grease for the European leg of the tour. And that's what brought me over to Germany.
Would you ever come back to New York?
I'm going to be honest and say the conditions would have to be very specific in order for that to sound appealing to me. And I'll tell you, it's easier to tell you why I ended up staying in Germany. At the time I was living in Germany, I just wanted to pay my bills by being a live performer.
Okay.
And of course, it would have been great to be in a long run Broadway show. That, of course, was a goal that I had and that many people have. And I did hang out with and train with a lot of people who were working on Broadway. And I would go visit them at home, go over to their places.
Yeah.
And these are people who would be like, they were like playing main roles in Broadway shows. And I would go to their apartment and they were sharing like a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 other people. And I'd be like, okay, this is it. Like, that's what there is to look forward to. You can say, yes, I'm playing a lead role on Broadway and maybe I got nominated for a Tony, but I don't even have my own bedroom. And not only that, I'm sharing the bedroom with 3 other people.
Oh.
So when I got cast in Greece and went to Germany, I was there for 6 months and then I was supposed to come back. And I just realized, like, at that time, the Broadway in Germany scene was huge. Like, there was Cats, Starlight Express, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Miss Saigon, Phantom of the Opera, all these shows were like touring and running long term in Germany.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and I just realized, okay, you know, for the amount of money I was making in Greece in my like background ensemble track with one understudy part, I had my own apartment with a kitchen and a bathroom and a walk-in closet. And I was like, dang, why would I go back to New York?
Right.
And so actually when my contract with Greece ended, I did go back to New York for about 3 months. And then I auditioned for Miss Saigon on Broadway. And it was kind of a dual audition because the production team from Miss Saigon, which was running in Stuttgart, Germany at the time, were also sitting in the auditions. And they saw on my resume that I had already done a show in Germany. And then I was sort of like given the choice in a way. Okay, do you want to continue auditioning for the Broadway production, or we can give you a job right now in Stuttgart? And I was like, I'll take it. And that was, I think, a Thursday. And the next Saturday, I flew to Germany again. And I haven't lived in New York since.
Well, that makes perfect sense. The opportunity was better in Germany. I mean, everything you mentioned was just more stable and just a stronger position.
Well, for me, like quality of life is also an important thing to
Yeah,
me.
that
And I
too.
think, you know, like I said, you make a lot of money working on Broadway. I mean, at least you did back then, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have
Decent
an
wage.
apartment, you know, a
Right.
nice place to live. And I think you probably know that just as good as
Yeah.
anybody else. I mean, like, I'm sure you know people who live in like a studio apartment with the view of a brick wall who pay like 2,500 for rent a month, right?
Yep. Yeah. It
Sorry, I'm
is.
not.
It's many.
Then that's why, to wrap it up, that's why I don't think I will ever live in New York City again.
Well, no, and I think you hit it right there because you know, when the pandemic hit, a lot of New Yorkers had that realization. I mean, you had yours way beyond that, way before that, but a lot of New Yorkers had that, and they left. They said, you know what, I'm my quality of life isn't up to par of what I think it should be, given where you know their particular life situation, and they left. And that was because that was kind of what New York kind of went through for the past 2 3 years, is trying to figure out how to better, you know, sort of the circumstances in New York. But it's very tough because it is very pricey in New York City. Everything
Yeah,
is up there.
yeah.
Uh, I was shocked to learn when you mentioned there were a lot of Broadway productions happening in Germany. I don't think many would know that or even think that. When you think Broadway or even showbiz, you're thinking New York, Chicago, LA to some aspect.
Mm.
But you don't think Germany, at least I didn't think initially think Germany had all these plethora of opportunities.
Yeah, it's like the third largest, I don't know, producer or whatever of that kind of entertainment. New York, London, Germany. I mean,
Understood.
Germany is a
Yeah.
country and New York and London are
Right,
cities,
right.
but
No, no, but I
you know
get
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. The general gist of it. Okay. So okay, you've been there for quite some time. How did you transition from being a US citizen to, I guess, gaining a residency in Germany?
I basically have my German green card. So I still have my
Okay.
American passport,
Okay.
but I'm like a permanent resident of Germany. And
Okay.
that just happened from anytime you move to a different country like I did. First of all, you can't just like move there and say, okay, now I'm in Germany. I'm going to start looking for a job. It doesn't work like that. The
Right.
production company, the original production company from Greece back then, they did all the paperwork for me and got that all taken care of. But as soon as my contract ended, I had to go back to I don't know what you'd call it, the Department of Immigration or something like that. I only know the German word. And and you know, let them know, listen, I'm going to try to find another job. And then they
Yep.
put a stamp in your passport saying, you know, you have like 3 months to either find a job or get out.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, so that was tricky. And with, you know, I did go back to New York and Ended up getting the job in Miss Saigon. And then, yeah, after that, things just like rolled along. I went right from Miss Saigon to Disney's Beauty and the Beast. And then, so I closed Miss Saigon, I closed Beauty and the Beast, which means that like I stayed in it until the very last show. And then I did some smaller productions, like some regional theater, summer festivals, and of West Side Story, and some original musicals, and Christmas Carol. And then I had the honor and luck to be cast in the original European company of Mamma Mia in 2002. So that was amazing. The first production on like continental Europe. And when you're in the premiere cast of something like that, there's just so many great things that happen. Like we're on all the award shows. We recorded the soundtrack, so I'm on the CD. I've got the Platinum Album Award on my wall. It's so cool. These are all like reminders of this previous life I had, sort of. All these newspaper clippings and stuff like that. Yeah. So that was 2002, and then I ended up staying with Mamma Mia on and off for about 7 years.
Wow. No, it's a wonderful life. You definitely have achieved a certain level that most won't ever see. And I think I want to give you your congratulations on that.
Well, thank you very much. I feel very blessed and very honored. And to any young person out there listening to this who might be interested in it too, just remember that it takes a lot of hard work, and you have to really want it.
Dedication and patience, they go hand in hand.
After like the first 3 years of Mamma Mia, I think, because the production was so successful and the contracts just kept getting renewed, and I'm not trying to flex here, but we were making a lot of money. And then that was when every year I was still having to go back to get a new stamp in my passport and, show them this is my contract, this is how much money I'm making. Because they just want to be sure that nobody from outside of the country is coming here to like,
right,
freeload.
Exactly.
And I hope that's okay. I hope that's the politically correct way to say it nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I think it's like that in any country.
It is.
Anyways, yeah. So after I think the 3rd year of Mamma Mia, I showed them my contracts, I showed them my bank account, and they were like, you know what? Do you want a green card? You're doing fine. So here, just take it. So that's how I ended up getting my permanent residency, is just by hustling a lot, doing a lot of work, and then being lucky enough to get into like this huge hit production.
Oh, okay. Pretty much the answer is have sound employment.
Exactly.
Understood. How is life different in Germany?
I live in Hamburg, Germany now, which is up in the north.
Okay. So
on the banks of the Elbe River. And okay. I think one of the reasons that I find Hamburg so appealing is because it really reminds me of growing up close to St. Paul, because I also lived like 20 minutes, well, not even 20 minutes from the Mississippi. There were lakes and water everywhere. And it's just like that here. So
okay.
And actually, the first neighborhood that I lived in Hamburg was St. Pauli. And that just that was a coincidence.
That's very poetic.
Yeah. And I love it here. I mean, just so many things about the quality of life for the work I was doing at the time were better. And of course, there's other reasons. I wouldn't have stayed here this long if I didn't like it here better. And I like the people, I like the culture, I like the fact that I can walk to the main train station here in Hamburg is like also 15 minutes walk from where I live. I can get in a train here and get off in Paris. I can get in a train here and get off in Prague or in Copenhagen. You know what I mean? Like, so many cool things are so close. And then there's other things, like I don't want to get into any political discussion, but fine. Just like the whole quality of life and the way that people are taken care of here, the social system with with healthcare and unemployment and things like that. Just feels it feels better here. Like I just feel like people are more taken care of.
No, trust me, you're not getting any anything we haven't heard. I mean, we hear from people of other different who establish themselves in other different countries, and they say the same thing. You know, healthcare, the people are just they feel safer, the security's better, or just at least more appreciative. And so, you know, what you've mentioned isn't anything, you know, foreign to what we're commonly hearing as compared against the United States or the Northeast, I'd say. But
Mm.
how far is Hamburg from Berlin, by the way, since I'm trying to get my bearings here?
In the super fast ICE trains that go like 230 kilometers an hour, it takes 90 minutes. So
Oh, okay.
it's yeah, I don't know how many kilometers, how many miles it is. We
Yeah.
are kind of the same latitude, longitude, latitude, but we're further west.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay, I was trying to figure out. All right, so I understand it now. And uh given the I guess the recent European politics or crisis going on over there, are you heavily affected by that or no? Like the Ukraine war or anything, or have you kind of been shielded from sort of those geopolitical issues?
One thing that like the first thing that became very evident is a lot of the important politicians here on a national and local level told us that okay, this is coming. You know,
Okay.
we were very reliant on getting these resources from this area, and because we are either not going to because it's not going to be possible or because we shouldn't, everybody needs to prepare for what's coming. And I thought that was great. You know, that they were just really honest with us,
Okay.
the on the local and national level. And then yeah, they did their best to find other ways to get these resources, and also just there are certain things that have been kind of reduced in a way. For instance, there's a lot of public swimming pools here in Hamburg. There's a whole like chain of yeah swimming pools,
Okay.
and they're inside and outside. And so most of them, because you know heating a pool takes so much energy. If
Yep.
anybody out there who lives in Florida and has a pool, y'all know what I'm talking about.
I used to be a lifeguard, so I used to have to
Oh
do
yeah.
all the chemicals and everything. Yeah. Yeah, you're
Oh
right.
nice. Yeah. So like most of these public pools are only open like 4 days a week now instead of 7 days a week. Some of them that have like two outdoor pools, only one of them has water in it right now, or only one of them is heated. So like
Yeah.
little things that make a big difference.
So before I want to move away from Germany, um, now that you've moved that you've been out there for so many years, does your family ever visit you, or are you more coming back to the States to visit your family? Has it been tough kind of on that end?
I got you. I try to visit my family at least once a year. About the time that I moved to Germany, my dad and my other mother, my stepmom, his wife, and I never know, I grew up with her, you know, I
Mhm.
have like two mom. It's the tricky thing is when I say I have two moms, then people think that's like, you know, they live together, but it's not like that.
Right.
So my dad and my other mother, Linda, they moved to Portland, Oregon about the time that I moved to Germany. And so the one tricky thing for me is I like to see my family. I like to feel close to them and visit them. But almost everybody, all my aunts and uncles and my brother and sister and my nieces and nephew, they're all in Minnesota. And it's just my dad and that mom who
Mhm.
are in Oregon. And I don't know anybody out there other than them. So that's tricky, is like trying to
Okay.
see everybody and spend enough time with everybody and be involved in their life and feel like a part of their life too. But
Right.
yeah, I try to go back at least once a year. I sometimes do twice a year. And recently, now that my nieces and nephew are getting older, We've done trips to Florida together too, which have been really, really great.
Okay. All right. Okay. I wanted to see if you felt like you were that disconnected from family being, uh, being in Germany for quite some time, but I know there's a decent attempt to sort of stay in the loop and at least see them and spend time with them.
Well, I always tell people that even if I were going to move back to the United States, I wouldn't live where they all live. Have you ever been to Minnesota in the winter?
No, actually, no.
Yeah,
I can only
don't.
imagine though. It's definitely colder than New York.
Yeah. So every time I go to Minnesota in the summer, I fall in love again, and I think, gosh, this is such a beautiful place. The people are so cool, and there's just lakes everywhere. Go out on the boat, go fishing, go swimming at the beach, all this stuff. I love a good Minnesota thunderstorm and all that. But geez, the snow and the temperatures of like 20 below.
Yeah.
Uh-uh. Sorry. Nope. Not that's Yeah, that's not going to work. So if I was going to move back to the United States, I don't know if I would necessarily see my family more often than I do now, just
Mm.
because I would be living in Florida. I would be living in Los Angeles. And yeah, of course,
Right.
flying to Los Angeles is easier than flying to Hamburg. But anyways, so my family tries to come visit, I think, as often as they can. And actually, my mom's coming in just a couple weeks, so that'll be
Oh,
cool.
wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys have a nice little mom son plan.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we probably have too much planned, but yeah.
Not only are you a uh you have a love for you've shared that you have a love for roller coasters, you are in show business, you're an accomplished author. And I only come here for the tea, so I want to know, what was your relationship like with Daniel Craig? We went breaking news now.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about. I know you can't see me, but there's a halo floating above my head at this very moment.
I just want to know. I'm trying to get to this next
Nah,
007. No, I'm just joking.
no, nothing happened with Daniel Craig. It's just a joke. I told you, don't take me seriously.
No, but all jokes aside, I loved this book. It not only was it insightful, it was funny, and you definitely were very descriptive in your stories. So I want to start from the beginning. What inspired you to write this book, which is entitled "Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship"? In a cruise ship.
Well, as mentioned, I really enjoy entertaining people. I love when I can put a smile on people's face. I love when I can distract them from their normal life. I love, having that connection with people, and I'm gonna say, providing that service in a way, to be the person who makes you smile and feel better, or feel happy about something, or make you think about something. And I was able to have that connection to, like 1,500, 2,000 people every night when I was going on stage. And when I started doing YouTube full time, then I kind of traded that for the hundreds and thousands of viewers out in the internet. And that's always a goal that I have, is not only to bring people information, but also to make sure that they're entertained. So there's always some silly aspect in the videos that I upload.
Yeah.
And then after I had made, I think there's over 2,000 videos on the very unofficial travel guides now, which is so crazy. I never would believe that I would be that motivated, but hey, 2,000 videos. Now it's over 17 million views in total, which is something I'm so proud of.
Congratulations.
Thank you to everybody out
Yeah.
there. But I don't know. I got to the point where I was like, okay, what else can I give people? How else can I connect with people? What's something that I could do that people would also enjoy? And I tried doing a podcast. People, I don't know, maybe I did it wrong, but it didn't work. It was not my thing. I'll have to try it again. Maybe I'll learn some tips from you. And I started a second YouTube channel and I realized, okay, it's fun, but I am feeling really motivated, but maybe not motivated enough to run two YouTube channels.
Mm.
And then I thought, okay, well, what about a book? So many people that travel, they love to read while they're waiting for the flight or while they're waiting at the pool. And I thought, yeah, I'll write a book. I'll give people something to read, something fun and funny and somewhat informative to read, and we'll see how that works. And honestly, I thought that maybe like 20 people would buy it. I never thought that it would roll like it rolled. So I'm really happy about that.
It's an amazing accomplishment, and it's a wonderful explanation that you just gave. You mentioned you wrote this book. It's something that people can read while they're waiting for a flight. I'm that person. I actually am much more of an audible person. Just because as a lifestyle, it's easier for me just to listen to something. But when it comes to travel content or books, I can read it. I'm like, oh, I can actually sit down and take this in and turn the page and understand it, and then bring it onto a flight and read it again and there. So I actually think it was a great idea that you did make it into a book, instead of the other platforms you mentioned early in the book about the work and the devotion and the many hours you had to put into your channel, and how the word influencer is almost natively synonymous with being like a telemarketer,
Yeah,
and
a
how
puppy killer.
right, but how like there's this sort of your workflow is so much different than what most people are accustomed to, and so you're also shedding light on uh on that work process. So my question is, do you still feel that stigma on being a content creator?
Oh, I definitely still feel it. And when I used to work in theater, it was always weird when I would meet people that I didn't know and they would ask me what I would do. And if I told them the truth, oh, I'm in Disney's Beauty and the Beast, or I'm in Mamma Mia, like people would, their eyes would light up, their ears would perk up, people would stop other conversations next to us to look over, and they'd be really interested in it, which
Mm.
has advantages and disadvantages, and it just goes along with being in that business. And now, if I am in the same situation, and like an elevator or a bus or whatever, and I say, oh well, I make YouTube videos, the reaction is totally different. People
Right.
still look, but there's like this animosity towards people who create content online. And I think it's because not everybody understands how it works. Not everybody understands that, at least for some people, especially the people who do what I do, it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And they just see the result.
Right.
I tell people, yeah, people say, oh, it must be so nice for you. You're just always on vacation. And I say, well, if it looks like I'm always on vacation, then I'm doing a good job, because I'm not. And influencers are
Mm.
people who basically do advertising. They're paid by a company to present a product or an experience in a positive light.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's been commercials on TV forever. There's been commercials on the radio forever. There's been billboards forever. They're just doing that. So I don't know why people hate on it so much. Do you
Yeah.
know? Like, what's your take
No,
on it? Why do people hate on it so much?
you know, I've had some time to think it over. I think it's just the way people view the day to day. And so they think you're getting ads. Like you wake up and there's just ad money sitting in your account, and there's ads sitting everywhere, and you're just picking and choosing, and that's how you're able to, live your life. And that's not how it works. It's really more, especially in travel content creation, which is a much more expensive endeavor than, being a comedian on Instagram or whatever it is. You actually have to travel to these places. You have to create good content. You have to keep producing that content. Then it has to be attractive to, on a YouTube or to advertisers as well. But you have to edit that content to make it that attractive. And then it's kind of like, you put the work in, but there's still an aspect of like, you hope the luck goes your way, and then everything works. But I think the animosity is just in the perception of what people are believing.
It might be kind of harsh to say that I think that there's a little bit of jealousy there as well too, because I know a lot of people go to college for 4 years, and then maybe they get their master's degree. They come out of that, if they went to school in the United States, with tons of debt, because it's not like that in Germany. Just to
Right.
touch on that again. But so you come out of school, you have like hundreds of thousands of debt or something, or 50,000, whatever, in debt.
Right.
And then you get into a job, and then you stay in that job and realize, okay, I'm not passionate about this anymore. This is not fun to me, but I got to keep doing it because this is my job and I actually kind of hate it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know quite a few people like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's tricky for anybody in any business to find something they're passionate about and that they enjoy doing, and then to be able to do it as a job and make money and pay the bills with it. And I'm one of the few very happy, blessed people who, it worked for me, or it is working for me at the moment. And so I can understand, and I think I wrote this in the book too, that like people who are in that other situation, the unhappy job situation, that they really are just waking up, going there, doing the minimum amount of effort to pay the bills. And it can be frustrating when they've gone through everything they've gone through to get there. And then like a 24-year-old buys the house next door with money they made from videos testing iced tea flavors. I kind of get it. But there's really, I don't understand why so many people really hate on these people. Because like I said in the book too, influencer is used like a swear word, like an insult. Oh, did you see one of these influencers made a video about Burger King? And it's like, yeah, well, so they made a video about Burger King,
Yeah, I guess there's an element of jealousy or a misunderstanding in how that whole system works. I can agree with that.
And to answer your question as well about the work aspect of it, yeah, I pay for all the traveling I do. I do not accept sponsorship because I want to be able to be independent and say if something is not very good or say if something is good. So people come to the very unofficial travel guides because they know, all right, well, he's going to tell it like it is. And sometimes people get upset because they say I'm too negative, but hey, if somebody's spending a couple thousand to go, let's say, on a cruise, and maybe it's the one trip that they take a year, if I'm there and I see things that I think somebody could be upset about, then I'm going to point it out. And that doesn't mean I'm complaining, but I do show things that I think could detract from having a good time.
Right.
And yeah, so I go do these trips. I'm on a cruise ship. I'm at Disney World. I'm at a beach hotel, whatever. And yeah, I have a good time there because why not? That's what these things are built for.
Yeah.
But when it's over, what people don't see is me sitting here where I'm sitting right now, in front of my computer at my desk for weeks at a time. And this is the job part, because I wake up, I start the computer, and I start editing videos. And when I take a break from editing, then I'm answering YouTube comments, or I'm answering Instagram, or I'm creating travel related memes. And yeah, then I have lunch, and then I just keep editing videos, and I'm sitting here alone in my apartment, and there's nobody here applauding. There's nobody here bringing me snacks. I mean, I don't live alone, but there is no team around me. I don't get feedback talks from a manager who tells me what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well. I I'm not managing a team under me that I can, also rely on. I do just about everything myself, and it is work. And just because I really enjoy doing it doesn't mean that it's not a job. That's
Yeah.
what's so hard for me to understand, that people, not everybody, probably not most people, but I do run into people and I read comments and articles from people who don't conceive it as it being a valid job. But I say, if I can pay the bills with it and I pay my taxes, then it's a job.
Yeah. You hit it right there. That's right on the head. And I want to touch on this other point.
Okay.
Because I've read your book and I like this point. The Morgan approved bathrooms. It's like
Do you
mean,
feel me there?
I feel you. I feel you. I thought of Seinfeld. I was like, oh, I don't know if you know Seinfeld. There's a character named George, and he has like these specific bathrooms. He's like, this is where you go in the city for the good, clean ones. But you go even further in terms of the privacy, in terms of the setup of the bathroom. I said, I agree. I think I want a Morgan approved bathroom now. So
yeah, please. I don't understand this architectural trend of making the bathroom in hotel rooms like a public space. Like, it's not, sitting on the toilet is not a group effort. It does not need to be part of the entire room experience. I need a real door from some thick material, preferably wood or metal, that closes all the way from the top to the bottom. I do not need a window into the bedroom to the toilet room. I do not need like 3 inches of space at the bottom or top that lets all the sound and the smells back into the room. I do not need that, and I don't understand anybody. I don't understand anybody who does. I don't get it.
Okay, so what you're saying is sink and tub are in one particular area. Closed off is you have the toilet and I guess like the toilet area closed off in like another area, right? Or is
it just doesn't need to be someplace where people can see and hear it.
I see. Got you. Completely enclosed. That's the place.
Yes. we cruised with Virgin Voyages. This is, I say we, my partner and I. I'm not talking about myself, like in the Royal.
Okay.
But we cruised with Virgin Voyages, and we were lucky enough to be able to stay in one of their big, they call them rock star suites. So it's a big, like extra large cabin at the back of the ship, and the balcony wraps all the way around the side. Really, really cool experience. But the bathroom door is glass. It's just glass.
I see. Yeah.
So there's a door there, but it's like a floor to ceiling window. And if you're going in or out of the balcony or standing at a certain part of the room, then then it might as well not even be a door.
You can just see right
there. And I don't know who's okay with that. I don't get
uncomfortable. It's definitely uncomfortable, and it almost defeats the purpose of having the door.
I don't need anybody watching me drop the bombs. I'm sorry, I don't need it.
No, I hear you. And I agree. I if there's a petition you got, I'm signing up. Whatever it is to get the equivalent of like the JD Power and Associates, but like the Morgan approved bathroom awards or list. I'm all for it.
I should create a website.
You really should.
A website listing hotels and public bathrooms and cruise ships and stuff where it's like a real bathroom door.
Hey, here's the list. Here's the brands to follow, what they're doing. Because I saw your video on the Poseidon room at the Atlantis, which is it's very it's a very esteemed place to be, where it's you get this hotel room they're underwater, you can see all the fish and everything. And I wondered if it had a Morgan approved bathroom. I said, I forget all the other stuff. Does it have a Morgan approved bathroom?
Well, that's a tricky question. To be technical about it. Oh, that's an old video too. I'm glad that popped up. It is approved, sort of. but there's a lot of fish that can see you.
Yeah.
And maybe the occasional scuba diver.
Oh, I didn't think. Oh, wow, that changes everything. I didn't think scuba divers go in there, but okay.
Well, yeah, because it's not to the ocean, it's to like an aquarium.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Those fish, and there are scuba divers in there not only just to like take care of the fish and to feed the fish and stuff, but they also do the cleaning. They have to clean stuff in the aquarium part of it.
yeah. You're right.
And I'll have to watch the video again. I mean, like I said, it's been probably over 10 years since I was there. I don't know if you can, I don't think there was even like a curtain or something. It's just like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
risky.
yeah. Yeah, no, look, I just wanted to give you your props on this book. I did read it. It's wonderful. It's something that really gave me a lot of insight into your story, your history. And again, I had so much fun reading it. It was a little short. I was like, I wanted more. I'm waiting for the second part or whatever.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
So I definitely wanted to just thank you for creating it. And I do encourage everybody to read Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. Um, so before I let you go, because I know we all got a day, we have these patented pay me in plane tickets questions.
Yep.
I wanna drop on you.
Okay.
Now, the first one is a little bit different because I guess you know you travel a lot, so I can ask the question. So if you did have to get paid in plane tickets, which airline are you choosing?
Probably Air France, KLM. I think from where I live,
Yeah.
they're connected to the most places easily without having to transfer like 3 times. And I have the most miles with them anyway, so it'd just be nice to get more and
Yeah.
get more status.
Yeah, you're top tier. I think you just hit that. You mentioned it in your book there.
Oh, well, I'm not top tier now because the status, it goes up and down depending on
Right.
how much you travel, and I lost it. So I wasn't even close to top tier actually, but I was at, I don't know what they're all called. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's nice to have status, that's for sure.
Okay. And I would have curtailed it to for cruising. Um, but I don't know if there's that many cruise liners out there to really choose from. Or do you have a favorite a particular cruise line that you've been on that was one that you
Well,
would
I know
recommend?
you're trying to avoid the word favorite now.
Yeah.
You're working so hard. Thank you so much. Um, well, there are actually a lot of commercial cruise lines that are really popular with different different groups of people. There's Royal Caribbean, there's Carnival, there's NCL, which is Norwegian Cruise Line, Disney Cruise Line, which is fantastic, MSC, Costa, Princess, P&O. There really are quite a bit. And I definitely do not have a favorite because there are things about all of them that I really appreciate.
Okay. All right. So we'll leave it there. It depends on what type of adventure you're looking to go on.
Exactly.
Exactly. And have you heard of this 140 I think it's a 140-day cruise ship by Seabourn? Are you
I don't
aware
know
of
if
that?
I've specifically heard of the one that you're talking
Yeah.
about, but that's not the only one like that. There's a lot of cruise around the world cruises.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So I thought because I just recently learned of that, and I was shocked to hear that there was such a cruise that can even operate for that long. So,
Would you do it if they sent you
oh
if
no,
it,
probably not. Yeah, I would first need to do one for like a few days and then test it, and then 140 is that's a long time to be on a cruise.
yeah,
Yeah. Would
agree.
you? Would you? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so you're in the same boat as
Well,
me.
I'm gonna say yes because it would be awesome to have the opportunity
Yeah.
if I would still be part of the journey after 140 days or up until 140 days.
Okay.
Not sure. Might end up finding something else to do before it was over.
I can understand that. All right. Next question. Do you have a go-to debit card or credit card you use for your points when you travel or for travel?
No, I don't, because the way that the bank system works here in Germany, or I'm going to say in a lot of European countries, is way different than it works in the United States. So it's not as easy to gain points and stuff like that as it is with so many of the cards in the United States. So,
Okay.
nope.
Yeah. All right. I understand. Yeah, we are aware because we are aware that it's not as popular in European countries or even some other countries where they don't do points like that. It's everything's cash.
Yeah,
So,
for a while, I was gaining points for Lufthansa miles and more with my credit card, but I think my bank stopped doing that, and I also realized that for the fee I was paying to have that option, that it really wasn't worth it. So, yeah, things are a little bit different here, and I don't I don't go hard on any specific card to get points.
understood. Besides the non-Morgan approved bathrooms, do you have a traveling pet peeve?
Yeah, I got you. I'm trying to think. I could go through a huge list to tell you the truth. I mean, I know it looks like I travel all the time,
Mhm.
and I know I travel way more than a lot of other people, which also leads me to be in certain experiences and people watch and see a lot of things more frequently than other people do. And one thing that I've observed so many times, and this is reserved for people who are on vacation someplace fun. So I'm not talking about business travelers, I'm talking about people going to Disney World, people on a cruise ship, people at a beach resort, people at Miami, whatever. Sometimes people seem to feel like, okay, I'm on vacation now. And not only am I allowed to, like, I don't have to cook, I don't have to clean, and I don't have to be polite. I feel like some people totally lose their manners when they're traveling. And the way that I've seen people treat other people and also treat like staff and cast members and stuff, sometimes it's just appalling.
Yeah, that's a solid pet peeve. I will give you that. No, no, that's a very solid. Okay, so if you had to travel to pick a location, are you choosing a city, a beach, or a mountain? And it can be a combination
Beach.
of a beach. Okay.
A beach in a city
All right,
or
a
a
beach.
city on a beach. It just has to be someplace warm.
Gotcha. Someplace warm doesn't really matter, but city beach is your best combo.
Yeah, like Barcelona.
I
Barcelona is
was
an
thinking,
amazing
yeah.
city.
All right. Yeah, Barcelona is one of yours. I can see that. Okay. Airbnb or hotel?
Hotel.
Uh, we have some Airbnb folks. We got some hotel folks. Why hotel over Airbnb? Give us your thoughts.
I'd like to have somebody at the front desk,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
just somebody that I know, okay, if if I need something or whatever, there's at least one other person awake in this building. Um, and usually hotels have more amenities.
Yeah.
That being said, after like 10 plus years of going to Disney and always staying in one of the official Disney resorts on property, for the past 2 or 3 years, we've been staying in like a vacation home. So basically like an Airbnb. And that's been amazing too. So, but I think altogether, just quick answer is hotel.
Hotel. Fair enough. So have you also stayed at the Disney hotels where the animals actually um like go up to your window?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
The one you're
wonderful.
talking about is called the Animal Kingdom Lodge. We
Oh,
stayed
okay.
there twice, I
Yeah.
think, actually. Yeah.
Is it everything that it's marketed to be?
Well, speaking of pet peeves and people not acting right,
Oh,
they have since that place first opened, they've restricted the distance that the animals can get to the hotel because people were feeding them stuff they're not supposed to eat.
Oh, they ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Oh well. I guess.
But yeah, of course. But hey, even though they don't get so close anymore, it's still magical to wake up in the morning, pull open the drapes, and there's, a freaking giraffe out there in the yard. You know what I mean? That's still pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's still something. It's still a sight to see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you a carry-on or check bag individual?
Checked bag.
Check bag? Oh, okay. We get a lot of carry-on folk here. You're leading the charge in this check bag.
Well, I have an advantage because I'm kind of a short guy. I'm only 5'5", so my clothes are smaller, and especially my shoes. I know like a lot of guys, they have big feet, and if they take two pairs of shoes, the carry-on is full. You know what I mean? So I have a huge advantage that I don't have that, but I don't like to carry. If I'm flying international and have one or two transfers, just don't like to have that something that I gotta schlep around with me the whole time.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah. If you're on a long haul flight and everything like that, probably best to just take the check bag way and just let the airline deal with it.
Yeah. And now with Apple AirTags, you always can see where it is anyways.
Apple AirTags is life. I check it even when I'm not flying. Like, where is this bag? Oh, it is in the house. Okay. Last one. So if you had to travel to one location for the rest of your life, which location are you going to?
Well, it's got to be home. It's got to be St. Paul.
That's very sweet.
I mean, when I just think of all the things around the world that make me happy, and there's a lot of them, but yeah, it would have to be the Midwest. It would have to be home if I had to pick. Wow. And thank God I don't.
That's a wonderful answer. You definitely warmed our hearts with that one.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
No. Most people would have picked like, the Maldives or some very exotic location or something like that. But home it's a solid one. Morgan, I just want to say I thank you for jumping on this and joining us today. And joining us from Hamburg, Germany.
Yeah, hey.
It's been wonderful just hearing your story, your journey, your thoughts on life in show business, your life as a roller coaster enthusiast, your humble beginnings, and your own book. Just a list of accomplishments, your life on cruise ships as well. I just appreciate you being here. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really great. I really enjoyed talking to you. I can't believe we've been going at it for a while now, huh? It's been like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, I know.
Or even longer.
Yeah, he's like, hey, look, we're doing pretty good on time. Like, yeah, we got. He has a whole day ahead of us.